Welcome to Craft Plan Create. Hello, welcome or welcome back. My name is Monica and I am a decorative planner usually, but today I'm going to be working in my courage journal. I'm working on these pages right here and I kind of know what I want to use. I definitely want to use this picture of McGonagall walking the students into the Great Hall to get sorted into their houses. I want to keep the back of this picture because it has Gringotts Bank. I'm just looking at it because I want to make sure I fold it the right way where I can preserve both images. I'm going to use this We Are Makers all-in-one tool to both cut and score my project. This Harry Potter book is a recycled book from my own personal stash. We read it until the pages completely fell out. I say this all the time. I will not rip apart a brand new book with everything all together, but ripping apart a book that's already given up the ghost and throwing its own pages out, I'll use. I want to say it's totally okay for each of us to work at our own comfort levels, so I'm not judging you if you're ripping apart things. On this right page, I want to do some layering with that picture of McGonagall. I'm going to use a page of paper from the Paper Studio paper pack that I bought at the Hobby Lobby. I picked this one because I feel like it complements the vibe of that picture. I'm going to use this page from the journal as a guide so I know where to cut. While I really like this The Works cutting mat and scoreboard from We Are Memory Makers, the one thing that you should consider if you're going to buy this is that the blade will fall off. It doesn't lock into place or anything like that. That being said, I would totally buy this board again. The next thing I'm going to do is tear down my paper to the size I need, and I'm just going to use my metal ruler for that. I'm going to tear off all these words here at the top. And then I was thinking, do I want this line or not? So I'm going to go ahead and remove this line. The next thing I want to tear off are both sides. I'm going to throw this away. I just want to take a look. It does cover where I want it to cover, so that's great. I'm going to use this Ranger Distress Oxide Vintage Photo and the blending tool to ink around the edges. I usually fast forward this process, but I've had a few people request to see this, so I'm showing this process for them. I really want to grunge this up a little bit more. So these stamps from Bo Bunny have a lot of different scuff marks and circles and brush mark looking type stamps. I'm going to stick with Vintage Photo to use on this little piece of paper. I like these little circles. I'm putting this on my clear acrylic block, and that is just a scrapbook piece of paper. I'm going to use it on another project, but I like stamping on the back of white paper because if it grunges up the back of it, I could use it as a grungy piece, or, I could just use it in another project because nobody's looking at the back of the paper. I'm putting a little more ink on this, but then after I stamp this right here, I realize I don't want it all to look the same color. And instead of just stamping off the residual bit of ink, I re-inked it. I don't know. My brain sometimes. See, I like that color diversity there. I really like this one, the way it looks. And I was trying to get it off of the plastic, but I couldn't. So I'm just inking it right here where it is, and then I'm going to put it, on the paper. I was improvising here, but I didn't really like the way it came out, the stamp, I guess, but I just worked with it. It is what it is. You gotta roll with it when you're crafting. So I added more circles in here to add a little bit of interest. And after I added these circles, I really liked the way it came out and didn't mind that corner so much. So much so I decided to add some more circles here on the bottom right hand corner. I'm going to adhere this little square down with clear Elmer's glue. This is a school glue. There's so many different glues out there, and you just use the adhesive of your choice. This one is a water base, and one of the reasons why I'm always reluctant to use it is because it does have a tendency to kind of warp the paper a little bit. So you can use an acetone base like Fabri-Tac. It doesn't warp your paper as badly unless you put too much. Something that I've noticed that really does help is when I just thin out this layer with my finger like I'm doing right here, and this helps decrease the warping. So now I'm just going to place this down right here and cover up all these words. So here it is. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is adhere this decorative piece of paper here on this page on the right hand side. I'm going to round the corners with my Katimaru Pro Corner Rounder. I'm going to use the small side because I just don't want the corners to be rounded too much. What I love about this corner rounder is it has a small, medium, and a large side, and it's really easy to use, and it collects all the little bits and bobs, so all I have to do is empty it in the trash. I am going to use a Fabri-Tac on this side. Fabri-Tac is so strong. It has, for me anyway, I think it's equivalent to a glue gun in strength, but it's not hot and I don't have to worry about burning my fingers. My main focal image is this picture of McGonagall leading the students into the Great Hall. So I'm going to use this scored line that we included earlier in the video as a guide mark to know where to put my Fabri-Tac. I'm going to be really careful that I preserve the Gringotts Bank image. I'm also making sure that there is enough glue on the sorting hat so that all of the little edges will stick down. Then I'm just aligning it here with my decorative piece of paper and pressing down. Now that's in, and this is exactly how I wanted it to look on the other side with the Gringotts Bank and the goblins there. Now I'm going to look in this Tim Holtz Ephemera Snippets packet for just another interest piece. And I don't know, it's a bank. Bank uses numbers, and this is my logic. I just want to pull one of these out of here. And I wanted it across the bottom, but then I thought it would kind of look cool across the top somewhere. So I decided to put it at the very, very top. I'm going to use some Fabri-Tac on this as well. and place it right here. I like that it says Gryffindor Moments at the top and that there's a really large journaling space and that journaling space will be kind of hidden by my image. Now that this is in, let's go ahead and go to the very front of the book. If you watch the very first video, I put a very bulky, thick ribbon to adhere and give strength to the binding. That didn't quite work out, so I layered these book pages, one on top of the other, to strengthen the binding here, and that works. Okay, now let's put this clear pocket down. I bought this from Daiso. These pockets have these little tiny edges that I don't care for, so I'm just going to snip them off with some scissors. Even though I know exactly where I want this pocket to go, there is an embossed edge, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. I definitely want that embossed edge on the outermost corner of the book. I like how clear this pocket is, and one of the things that attracted me to it is it had its own self-adhesive strip. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove one side of the backing. Carefully place the backing on the back of the pocket. And then I'm going to remove the other backing piece and place this pocket exactly where I want it to go. This pocket is so transparent. I love that you can read the book pages behind it. Let's talk about what I made to put in the pocket. These pages are from a Harry Potter book that we read so much that the pages fell out. The front of this journaling space has the letter accepting Harry into Hogwarts. This was created with tea-dye paper, and I distressed it with vintage photo distress oxide. This envelope here was created with a residual piece of a file folder, and it's addressed to Mr. H. Potter in the cupboard under the stairs. This is a piece of stamped tea-dye paper, and it looks like a letter, so I just kept it in there. This fussy cut is from the very first chapter of the Harry Potter series. It's The Boy Who Lived, and I'm going to put this here in the pocket. I don't know where I'm going to use this fussy cut yet, but I'll use it eventually. So now that that's done, I want to decorate these two pages right here. And actually, I have a saying that I have already cut out and rounded the corners. Here it is. This says, "Welcome to Hogwarts. Now in a few moments, you will pass through the doors and join your classmates. But before you can take your seats, you must be sorted into your houses. They are Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. Now, while you're here, your house will be like your family." This is said by Professor McGonagall in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And it is a J.K. Rowling, all rights reserved. I'm using the Tombow Mono double-sided adhesive to place this on this left page. And of course, I totally forgot to ink the edges, so I'm just going to do this and speed it up. Is it just me, or does this sound like hummingbird wings? Now I'm going to place this saying at an angle. I like putting things on angles, but I also want to see the majority of this picture and preserve it as much as I can. Now that that's done, I want to go back to my original layout. This is the first one that we started in this video, and I want to add a little something to that right page. This is the excess from that picture. I'm going to use the words "The Great Hall" here and just fussy cut them out. So to add a little bit of dimension, I'm going to use this mesh. It's from some product I got from somewhere, but I don't remember where. I'm trying to remember and I just can't. So anyway, I'm going to put it behind the words and let's just see how it looks. To adhere this down, I'm going to use a really nice thick layer of Fabri-Tac so that it will penetrate the mesh and adhere to this page. There's some mesh hanging off the bottom of the page and I'm just going to trim that off. I bought this washi tape from the washi tape shop quite a while ago, but I like this globe and I want to include it in this spread here. Trying to figure out if I want to use the whole piece of washi tape or just cut out the image, and I'm just going to cut out the image. So here's the globe, and I'm just going to trim off some of that excess white background. It's a very thin washi tape, so I'm sure if I adhered it down right now without trimming it, it would probably look okay, but I just want to fussy cut this down a little bit. Once I remove the backing piece, I just want to play with it and see where it would look best, and I think it's going to look good here in this bottom corner. Yeah, I definitely want to cover up some of those red stars. Generally speaking, I don't trust washi tape very much, and I add a little bit of glue stick to help the adherence, but I didn't do it this time. I might regret that later. In the last video, we worked on this insert for the pocket, and I decided I wanted to add a little bit of writing space, so I'm just going to rip some of the edges off and shrink it down to a workable size for the area that I'm working with. And I'm just using a regular ruler. I know that they have beautiful tear rulers, and if that's your thing, go ahead and get one and use that. But sometimes, I don't know, I just feel like, am I accumulating too many crafting tools? I don't have a very large office and I've really worked hard to declutter it, so I don't want to buy more crafting tools to clutter up my space. I did want to mention that Natasha at Treasure Books, she does have a great tip that you can buy an old ruler and you can kind of scuff up the edges to make your own tear ruler, so that's a really creative way to address that as well. Now that these are all torn up, I'm going to go ahead and ink around the edges. I'm going to glue this down, but after I glued it down, I really wanted more of a layered effect on the back of this, so I'm going to just repeat the exact same process I did again and create a second layer. I like the ink around the edges because it distinguishes one layer from the other. So now let's go ahead and apply the adhesive of our choice. I'm going to use this Tombow Mono double-sided tape all around the edges. And I'm going to go ahead and just place it at an angle so it looks like these have just fallen on top of each other here. I really like this look. It looks very natural. Like this is what I would imagine is on all of our desks, or just little stacks of paper. So here's the front, and I'm just going to go ahead and put this in the pocket inside of my Courage journal. Now that that's finally in the journal, let's go ahead and do a flip through of everything we've done today. It was really fun to create this, but I'm going to leave the video here. Until next time, everyone, have a wonderful day. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.